how to self-care your way out of burnout. Yes, you can self-care your way out of burnout, and I'm going to cover the 6 activities I used to help myself bounce back from burnout. Hey, I'm Miles Street, and I help for-profit and nonprofit leaders who've been experiencing winter moments in the past, but right now you realize you need a new game plan and you want to win and dominate in your life and industry. One of the first things that I did to help myself rebound from burnout, and I've been maintaining this practice, is I exercise on a regular basis. And one of the things that I like to do to help me deal with stress, help me clear my mind, just help me stay sane on a normal basis, is to have a regular workout routine. Now, as I was experiencing burnout and going through burnout, um, I would have to say that I wasn't always looking forward to the workouts. And I'd also been kind of working out kind of intensely. And so my personal trainer that I was working with, he was one of the first people that recognized that I was probably experiencing burnout. And it's kind of interesting how it happened because we didn't communicate uh, virtually or face to face or anything like that. Or he couldn't read my body language. Actually, I submitted my um, weekly check in about my progress with my workouts and diets and things of that nature. And reading through my check in, he made the comment, "It sounds like you might be in burnout." And one of the first things that he helped me do in that process is he redesigned my workouts. He made sure I was doing things that I enjoyed. So instead of always going to the gym, I started doing more workouts from home. I went to doing kettlebell workouts more, and at that point in time, it's still summertime. I was doing them around my pool, and actually, he cut back my workouts from working out 4 to 5 days a week to really and truly working out only 3 days a week and still adding in exercise and activity, but not so intense workouts, and having me walk more. And the other thing about the walking was he encouraged me to go walking in nature more, and I found that doing that actually let me recuperate a lot faster. It also helped me refresh my mind and my thinking because, hey, I was out getting exercise. I wasn't pushing myself to the limit, but I was still taking care of myself. And I felt that being consistent with that, and I was still being consistent with my exercise, was one of the ways that helped me take care of myself, but rebound from burnout. Hey, do me a favor, hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. The second self care activity I did was prayer and meditation. Now, this can be a very personal activity, and it really depends on your faith and your preference as far as this is concerned, how this is lived out in your life. But for me, it was something that I incorporated in the time, and it was something that I could do personally. So is was I could either just set aside the time and spend the time praying and talking to God and sharing with Him where I was at and asking for help and asking how I can get through it. The other part of it, as well as using guided meditations, reading certain types of prayers and affirmations to help myself rebound and bounce back as I was coming through this burnout. And a lot of it was just making sure I was taking care of my soul. And part of the reason I got into that place was, to be honest, I wasn't taking care of, really wasn't taking care of my soul. And that practice and getting back into that practice and making it a priority, whether it was simple as a few minutes at the beginning of the day or at the end of the day, or maybe as setting aside an extended amount of time sometime during the day and taking that time to uh, pray and meditate. Sometimes it's just doing some deep breathing exercises and things of that nature that helps me reconnect with myself, reconnect with God, and reconnect with where I want to go with my life and my purpose and my business and things and my work and all those things that were part of this process. And it's really and truly just making it a priority again and making getting back into that practice and being faithful with that practice. I hadn't completely given it up, but at the same time, I hadn't made as much time for it as I should have because I was just so busy doing so many other things. And so when you're getting that grind, and if you're like me, I'm one of those grinders. You know, I go hard at work and I go hard on business, and I go hard on taking care of myself, and then I are working out and all that kind of stuff, but not really slowing down to really take care of myself. And so it was doing those things again and getting back in that prayer and meditation to help me rebound from that burnout. So I've talked about exercise and prayer and meditation are two activities I use to bounce back from burnout. The third activity I used was journaling. And for me, that activity was not something I did on a daily basis. It was a practice that I would use a few times a week, and it would depend on the day and where I was at and how I would use that activity for myself. Now, do I have a regular journaling practice? Yes, I do. Okay. And ideally, that practice for me would be having a block of time, hopefully around 30 minutes or more, and be in a quiet, peaceful place that I could really, that helps me just focus and think and write. Um, Now, does that happen for me on a regular basis? No, it has not in this whole process, but I kind of got back to it. And some of the things that I used in that practice was one, on the days that I did do it and use it, it was could be a brain dump. And it was just all the stuff that I was working through, dealing with, things on my plate, whether they were from my 9 to 5 or whether it was from my side hustle business that I've got going. I was brain dumping about those things at that time. Sometimes it did include that longer focus time where I could just write about everything going on in my life at that point in time. Now, for me, that can also be a spiritual practice, and it links really well with the second activities of prayer and meditation. And for me, it is also a time that when I get set that time aside and block that out in my schedule and in that peaceful place and peaceful state, that is a point where I can write down honestly and transparently and use whatever kind of language I want to use to communicate with God about what is going on in my life and where I'm at and what I feel like He's saying to me. And it just helps me reflect and hear back and listen to myself, but also hear back from God in those moments about what do I need to do about myself at that point in time. And so journaling became part of that practice, and it will continue to be a part of my practice as well. And I would challenge you to do it yourself. When I was first challenged to do it several years ago, at first I kind of thought, what use is that? Honestly, I thought it was kind of BS. But once I started in that practice, I found that benefited me a lot, and it also just helped me communicate. Not communicate. It helped me connect with myself and help me connect with the things that I was dealing with, whether in my personal life or my work life at that time. The fourth thing I did to self care my way out of burnout was to maintain a healthy diet. And I'd been fairly consistent up until I was experiencing it. And the thing about it was when I would hit those low moments, and you might be the same way, I don't know if you are, but or get depressed or just frustrated, I would tend to overeat and snack too often later at night. Uh, those types of things. And part of that, let's just be honest, hell, just want to drink a bunch of damn beer or have margaritas or drink a bunch of wine or something like that. And I like my beer, I like my wine, but at the same time, consuming too much of it isn't good for us. And so for me, it was getting back to having a healthy diet. Now, this is where working with my personal trainer at the same time was very beneficial because I was uh, focusing on my health and working out. I was also monitoring my diet. I was tracking my meals. I was tracking my food, and that helped me be a lot more consistent about getting back on track. Did I struggle during the process at times? Yes, I did. It was cutting back on the alcohol has probably been the biggest uh, challenge because hey, I just like a nice cold beer at the end of the day. So, but making sure I got back to eating a healthy diet for me is also following some intermittent fasting principles where I wouldn't start eating till a certain time of the day. Actually, just eating from a 10 a.m. to an 8 p.m. window. Trying not to eat anything after 8 p.m. is really key, and that just helps me stay within my target range of calories and macros as well. And by limiting that, I stay away from the junk food at the same time. So that helped with the diet part of it also. The fifth element or activity was staying connected with those important relationships. And that meant make sure I was connecting with those people that bring me life and help energize me, not those people that drain me down and suck the life out of me. Uh, and it was also making sure me and my wife were still dating, going out, those types of things, but not overdoing it with the activity. I remember when I was really deep into it and first experiencing it, and one of my close friends reached out to me and actually asked if I would, how would I feel? No, he used the, here's what the words he used. What if I pressured everyone, and that's our group of friends, to schedule, set aside time to go hang out and do a guide trip over the weekend? And I said, I like everything about that, but I don't want to be pressured to do anything. And that is one thing I did as well. I stopped saying yes to everything. I only said yes to those things I really wanted to do and those people I really wanted to hang out with, because there are relationships that can restore you. And those were the relationships that I focused on to help me work through this burnout. The sixth and final element that I included in my way of self care, my way out of burnout, was treating myself. Now, this is something I don't do enough of. Uh, I tend to think about myself last. Not that I'm perfect, not that I'm the most unselfish person in the world, but it's just something I don't do a lot, do really well. Is that I think about taking care of everybody else, taking care of my kids, taking care of my wife, taking care of my friends, taking care of the people I'm responsible for, my leadership, and then I'm the last person that I take care of. Well, I started treating myself. First thing we did, both my wife and I, we made sure we went on a vacation. We took a break. We unplugged. We got away. We got away from the house. Got away from the activities, the work, the life, everything. Put social media down. Stopped YouTube. Stopped Instagram for a while. Stopped doing. I took a break from working and building my side business, my side hustle. Did I still have to go into work at my corporate 9 to 5 job? Yeah, and that's another reason why. That was part of the reason how I got to that burnout phase. But at least the leadership understood. I communicated with them, and they were understanding and helped me reduce some of my time at work and things of that nature. But treating myself also meant that I started resting more. And for me to take a break and to allow myself, I am the type of person that even trying to sit still and rest and relax, I continue to hear in my head you lazy motherfucker most of the time. And I had to just be okay with that and uh, treat myself. Sometimes that was treating myself to a nice beer and a cigar. I know I talked about that earlier, but still, that is the way I treated myself. Or having a nice meal, going and doing things that I enjoy, going on that motorcycle ride, spending more time going on motorcycle rides, spending more time going to play golf, things that I hadn't been doing, putting and allowing myself to do, but I didn't let that wear me out. And that's another thing too that I had to, as I was treating myself, even treating myself to a round of golf, I did it in a restful manner. I didn't try to pack it into a day and make sure I got all my work done and got everything done around the house. I just made sure I didn't care about anything else. I was going to treat myself and I was just going to play golf. And if nothing else got done that day, I was okay with that. And that is what I mean by treating myself. And that might be what you need to do for yourself. Go do something. Maybe it's buying you something, treating yourself to a meal, going on a vacation, taking a retreat, unplugging, getting away from everything, resting, sleep, and getting more sleep was key for that process for me as well. I have covered with you the 6 practices I use to self-care my way out of burnout. Hopefully you can apply them as well if you're in a state of burnout. Remember, it's exercise, prayer and meditation, journaling, maintaining a good diet, connecting with uplifting relationships, and treating yourself. Now, I'm going to, in the description below, I'm going to provide you with a link to my journaling activity that I use, and also a link for you to connect with my personal trainer to help me through this process as well. If you have any comments about the video itself, please put that in the description below. Also, you'll find up here, I have a video that you can watch related to developing a growth mindset and another video over here about self-awareness. Thank you for joining me and catch me next time.